According to NRC 1951, the Yumpam Wedong say, we have a huge question. NRC 1951 Manipur gi laiti haibagi pot asobam tholei bose. And Tizalur kan the all India gi storum dreba. Intention di lay. Tauhi dev. That's the source I have. Correct me if I'm wrong. Any researchers find it out, please inform me. Aina Tizanjaru but the laiti. Layram maga mangan gibama. Natraka tauhi dabama. Either way, hojikti laiti and laiti. Officially, RTI answers laiti. Adu the NRC 1951, the Yumpam Moidaga foreigner illegal Kandokadan Lauri by Koi Sikari, the Nanga Minabanange. Akanga Ingakani Tanabu, inform society Matautai. I call in the lady, but people Sikari no, I call Kadaisa to no Carmine or me, I begin knowledge. I call them to Lok Sabha, the 18 December 2018, the question hung away, NRC, I know, Mamangi, 17 Lok Sabha. Minister Nakumakpada, 1951, the National Register of Citizen, NRC within bracket, Assam, was prepared in 1951 as a non-statutory process. 1951, the Taugiba, NRC chair. This is Home Minister now on the floor of the House Kumupani. It is a non-statutory process. Aina TV, the not a public space people, the nang, but the not it's an executive order, right? It doesn't have a statute to do that. Ek laitia. Huzik NRC to watarati. It will be a statutory process. Unlike the NRC of 1951, because we have a legal frame. 2003, the Citizenship Act 1955, which was derived from Article 11 of the Constitution. Highly, but Citizenship Act 1955 say, amend tawgreba. Amend tawgreba matungda neba National Register of Indian Citizens. Legal framework never. So if you do now, it will be a statutory exercise. It will be guided by these statutes and the corresponding legislation. See the distinction, guys. Common people, the lawyers in the what is the difference between a legislation and a statute? What is delegated legislation? Ako the inform me na dangang gabi da pangang pasina. Passed away by executive order ga kadai dekhene 371C ga presidential order 1972 gi mari se karino leinari se kanana authority paigani kaisi eikhoi gyan ta da ya anuna inu jaize first thing first distinction ama leire bam dekho ji khangamni na aina mayam da request of the doisi NRC haiba budi NRIC haiba na chungane boju pe because this is mandated by a statute. Law na tawko process ni at the season of a term never. Kangbum na di amaya managin masi lawyers sing dai masi ki happy manaba example ma haijo hairaga di consequence am chaw bani definition na akoina sum pazara pod law is di in season abaga or season abaga the jail change changoi ngami haini. If two items are being punctuated by or in, implication I'm thinking in it. A or B have the condition do ama satisfy where we are doing A and B had the animal satisfy or they are kind where lawyers in can come around and say aduna why is in the matam the careful of changi adeginang na mi seta homicide here they are money and NRC get the money higher the subtle implication can homicide culpable amounting to murder not amounting to murder the homicide meaning adun kenani. So when we say NRC, mamangi reference point, a communication strategy that's a clarity. What we are demanding today is part of NRIC for the state of Manipur. And this will be a statutory demand. Masi ako clarify to gumsa. Second, the conception is a map of my exercise. Hozik tawge haragati. census haiba mane NRC mane aina sumaina yek targa diko census NRC NPR NRIC na laine bhojite ko census haiba sina karino NRC haisina karino amadi National Population Register haisina kaino mari subadana NRIC haisina kaino abse akoi clear oidraga di process sengaro isam chamna senje the census haibase mayam khangbi dungai ngasagi mi khangna no honda bagi introduce abudina British government na ihan hana mohoina East India Company dagi India se loksala matung dane ba moina control tauna bo honarakpa matam dane ba classifying the terrain and the population leiba lamam sumi singse classify taroga masing thiba enumerated horakpa matam du da introduce loksala pane ba so that is why after British became the ruler from company dagi mohot chela koina British raj hobo se Queen Victoria's proclamation in 1858 aduga hauraba matung da moina paira kanda neba census se control da administer tawna ba hauraki ba exercise ne but that's why 1965 1960s northwestern frontier om da gi han haura kanda mathang da adugi mamang da Bengal si da moina hana dominate taw laibani na 1830 the city of Dhaka gi di hana enumeration taw but aikoina matung da haura isi we can see the census ki stories di control tawna honam da head count or classify taw ne ba people since and terrain adugi nitunani 1860s agi tholene especially 65 onwards 72 da tawre but akoina sida shomu concept synchronic and non synchronic census size mamang da tawriba mayam do non synchronic ngakta neba that means it's not carried out simultaneously Bombay dana ngasi chahi tawba yai Madras na hayeng mathang chahi tawba aduna simultaneously held tawba census ne aduna comparable hoideba data se amane aduna Government of India na lot report orongane in ningsang bada 1881 dagi neba continuously every year every 10th year the synchronic census ki exercise ho raise si head count ni sigi first independent India na independent oiraba matung da yana na tawa census na 1951 akoi na ngasi NRC 51 sigi problem sine so census ha na kaino hai ka ga di cham na public na gyan ta do ni ko mayam sawi go ko si learning ngak te na khangbiram ni se miyam na khang da budong na tawreba census size de supposing imung am da mi mari leram kan da in house to be yenga kan da nupa chahi humpuni toy nupi chahi nifu nipan nupa chahi kuntra ma toy nupi chahi trama ngai na sumaina person dugi basic information khara lauraga chapane head count that is census madu khangda dana ne ba kangbom na census ta yompham moiraga NRC to wangang le because they don't understand what is the difference between NRC and census data NRC to rok pakisgi da NRC sin ngasai hairiba 62 years kan mai ni NRC san kan data se tourism yaima 62 years old EVM hal they be 48 years old and my mumming matha yaura aneba nangi adu list that's the difference sigi implication si nang ojik NRC to ba assam da tori bana jage NRIC to matam da si changa kadone you cannot use census data aigi ipu ne 58 years oba nupa ina pali do ha ya ga ba hai but yaima toism yaima do aigi idho pok ne haibadi yar kaneba mumming matha yauromina that's the reference point census the yaw the census the inform NRC to udam ne hare isi kai no they don't understand what is NRC and what is census data that the particular detail of the individual person se yaw roeba mami nga tha yaw roeba so you can't use it as a reference point NRC to kanda NRC is in 1951 this is one of the greatest mystery in my life mina ngangoi sum chatpa isu akoi su chali osa su dum chali academic literature to bo pai khi lan ba dum widely dum circulate to bo lai akoi khata na te su mina ngang pa de NRC gi adu da halaman singna akhang ngai singna ngang ko do ai ge area na ta mina thoi ne yengu da ba ana dum chum ma bo sum chakhe ba sina ko na handa ki aina kitang intensive oina yeng ba hor kan da ne ba ina gyan tare sai ma sidi na hangai ma haram si adu de la le na sidi yaw de na sidi taw de na aduna NRC ga census data ga in haiza gipse masi matang na si matang san pan ja do se first independent phanga ba matungda census tawse yamna emotional and kano tawra tawkeba khoi first time independent India state ni kind leaders sing enumerators sing the chithi ga thai Raja Gopalchari was a home minister. He sent out a message to all the enumerators in the country. Independent India census tawdorini. Asi tawkans the partition thokpagi mi hongdok hongdin sida leramba Muslim ason chakhiba asonda leramba ma halakpa Muslim maraktu su mayamana hongraga manau pa dei dis leuni leuba sigi confusion marak sida there was a felt need to map out simultaneously citizen kanano magi list ama same se na need amadagi tholakhiba pot nebe NRC 1951 Census su tawringai sida sisu asai partition gi mi lengthok lengthing sina ko citizen skill list amata semau si ena tawrakpada tawhiba exercise ne masigi NRC the greatest mystery is this all India gi wada intended oiraga sumasa asam khakta da tawhiba dawlagi information oina leiba hose According to NRC 1951, the Yumpam we don't know say, we have a huge question. NRC 1951 Manipur gi laiti haibagi pot asobam tholei bose. And Tizalur kan the all India gi une storam dreba. Intention di lay. Tauhi dev. That's the source I have. Correct me if I'm wrong. Any researchers find it out, please inform me. Aina Tizanjaru badadi laiti. Interestingly, 1951 gi message pirak pasu Gopalchari gi message de yaw debe NRC whereas chief minister Medhi gi de yaw rebe NRC asam gi matam de CM oiram baduna mana irakpa chithi dadi enumerations de ibda with a sense of pride NRC su simultaneously tawduine se palleba aduga India gi home minister na census ki tharakpa magi message dadi yaw deba masigi kenos NRC se pandeba mana So tawgide lai haibasigi achauba isum lai dubu major chunk of the information akoi husik phangiba posida NRC 1951 Manipur laiti asineba mase laiti haiba is like a ghost document laidi hai duga kadai da laige se koi gyan ta so whenever you ask people officers without wanting them to mention their name leitaba ni da Home Ministry ki karidagi aina som thiraga yengbadasu it was not conducted anywhere in the country except Assam. Karigino sinem. Assam ko tata tawgre. Adi akoy ni NRC Manipur lele siya. Sige second amuna akoy na kawgi bani public memory are very short. So that champo de may hog na tawga 2015 da akoy gihana gi aim sugi su leader weramba ajusi TV da su public sphere das yamna kana actively dum leibane koi han lehok thabam chanda ani bumoduna RTIM thabani karigino da Manipur's People's Protection Act ki da Manipur people se define ta the NRC 51 da yawaina palleba ek to pass madda da man RTI thare home department NRC Manipur 1951 se leibran The answer by the Home Department is that they don't have this data. Moina do the Census Directorate na pairong ngani na thare. Then Census ki Directorate of Census Operation na amuk kari I said 2015 ki October ki wari niko. Moina irakpa wahidu sa amuk jeng biyoba. It's very informative. Answer kay piraki yung biyo ko. Census ki Directorate of Census operation ki answer da. The office is not aware of the authority which prepared the 1951 NRC. Hence, the information sought for is not available with this office. Home the sulaite. Census Director sulaite. When you look at it, all India da Assam ko tung tawgi bagi impression se most of the document aina ubada adu ngak tu ui home minister na tharakhiba podasu yaude then we ask kai do boina khoina lei haisa ani thongna yengba yai leiram maga mangan gibama natraga tawgi dabama either way hojikti leiti na leire officially hani RTI answers leiti Adudi NRC 1951 the yumfam moiraga foreigner illegal khandokadam men lauri ba eikhoi se kari da nganga minaba nange Adusu Manipur leibak TV the active oiba mi amana 2015 the RTI tharaga I spoke kaugri. It was even published in national papers. RTI shocker in legidre kelen thoksam na su file to story am laying 17 October the telegraph the yaw 16 the lang laiti hai later the 2015 the 2025 which is chahi tarani 10 years I was what are we Mazar oigera NRC oigram the karai no khoi nang na recess NRC 1951 the yumphom oigadam ni oibina ga leite singa singarang wanate 2015 the RTI ge result the thola khrabaga aikoi na kari na bu su ngang is leira kana puthoro kana na tor ga silai rem puthoro na adu hujung mo puthora sarkar na leite hare sig document mayam lai ba sig census ki 1951 ki report se so aina ti re yeng mane contradictory oiba post tholai form 19000 distribute tawge na sum yaw le ram ni report amdana census slip haibu waham season mo na amana NRC form ina ada manipur ki kala makha da su 19000 form yen thoki ina mung taw yaw le ram kari hai no. So the important question in the NRC 1951 say as far as the available information, eikhoi the leiba, including the RTI in 2015 the thagiba RTI dugi result ta kai haige the NRC 1951 Manipur leite hayaba. Ai hapat yeng kai no the matam the superintendent of census operation haise. Sige nupa mage Vagi wali ahab nupasa asima na sigi position ji superintendent ki position je pirak tirama se commissioner in there mane bakena the kasarda 51 gi mana pai mai makha da Tripura su Manipur su yawe ba ain khale bu di magi makha da same authority makha da conduct to buni separate orga su punjan na office amagi makha da tawrak panina confusion chali jala NRC asang ko tang tawgadab du da ngasai ki same superintendent of census operation eikhoi ki separate leram de aina khangjabada Hawaibam Ranbir Singh eikhoi an lerami mana first director of mami zong the superintendent of census operation haidre directorate of census operation hai 1971 khakta da ne khoi ya de lai dei adugi mamang da di Assam ki office ki makha da dum tawe census aduna confusion se Assam da tawdu da same office un tawdu da confusion chatna tawri bra haibagi question amadi lai there are some confusions but the dominant information eikhoi no zik phang is there is no NRC Manipur 1951 and the first public knowledge lerakadosina RTI in 2015 Manipur da thagiba RTI Manipur masana khabar da su fongiba national paper su fongiba adu fongna ghost document ki type da 1951 NRC da tawrisi di eikhoi se kari tarage non existent document am da exist awi type da ngang leiba ki mongam tareba so the first question ngasi ke confusion je solve tawge di mayam ain haijar no thamjani bo pham di is there a document called NRC 1951 Manipur. I study there is no NRC 1951, including example this lawakabam saratna thagiba RTI ge result to them. Then all these documents that I have read, only Assam kutta da tawagi indications it able. So that is the first thing. Simultaneous tawgibagi mix up tawguna confusion chat rise terms you use of the mayam hang research with the public also census slip ivani amana NRC form ivani and isigi kana usule adu da ina ti bane badu gil through the sumo so that's the first thing now ngasai aina haiba statutory oid e haiduna ngasai 2003 dei oida abnina magi adu the contingent oiba rule ama sum seme ba government adugi rule 2003 ni adusu Adugi makhada thulak padana karimu oire haikandana NRC tawdringaida census ka sagonaba oina haugiba haubade but independent of census su tawyaba process ama introduced tawreba moina in 2010 da practically tawre introduced tawbana 2003 da and that category that exercise is called National Population Register. Census to the kitang henjan by one asagi mumming matha hapsalatu. Sigi National Population Register sinana. Nasagi sahi yankai nipan adu 62 in hybrido. Adu na mumming matha yaur anev. Sigi records na kari kaugeta National Population Register. 2003 की amendment हाई से कही हाई के दा NRC ताऊना ना बहाना वजिकी National Population Register से same का दबने National Population Register का census का उनका इखेना रहा census ता मम्मी मथा याव दब दो नंगी के नसे दा यावशला अनेब NPR दे मम्मी मथा लो याव अनेब अदुगी against ता NRIC हाई बवा पोसा scrutinize and verify. These are the two words used in that order. Concept and scenery against the National Population Register. NRIC say established verify and scrutinize. The NPR has to be verified and scrutinized. Sigi posine ba koi na 2003 da set up tawra leire the National Population Register si da su foreigner census ka samane census asu nang aina sangu ba yum du da leire ma mi du gi makok thiba khakta ni ahum thokna lei adu su moina institutional head count and hospital da leiba mi thiba adu thiba amana household le thirak pa amana mapan du hongi ba khoki ba gi chakpa gi du main thiba main taw ne the National Population Register is the same badang asai census the mumming matha yahon bai wane ba adu ma se foreigner ni adu ni illegal sikai khai bi aro chapman census su chapman citizen gi doine NPR citizen gi ne ba adu amuk verify tawra kanda da ne citizenship ki question na hong jalai se so in short census ko baga National Population Register ga the foreigner ni citizen ni nati haibagi question se yaw deba Later, mami the masing tivani census na adu mami matha kitang detail hapaka namu mepau to na National Population Register kawi that was introduced in 2003 amendment and practice implement over na 2010 it was verified updated in 2015 anira ngai de badu gisa so Manipur gi sigi NPR selerong ane bozi 2010 amsung updated in 15 sisu mu Manipur gi State of Affairs the document of fazana leibra leita su khang de bai Adu nationality, it is from the Home Ministry. The National Population Register was prepared in 2010 and updated in 2015 as per the amendment in 2003 to the Citizenship Act of 1955. Is it clear? Reported? Is there in police, in government official record. Manipur, the NPR line. Logi matungin na NRIC torko the high river population do verify to bong changboy wane banang citizen na tabrai. So that is NRIC ga NPR ga mari lai na bane. This is how the law is. Now, last 2 points. I never select the hygiene. Sigi trajectory sigi matungin na. eikhoi na hojik Assam da handak thengnai sigi wari se kadai de la ki ge da mo gi di go back foreigner agitation nam lei eikhoi da su lei adu da su season nei aim sugar share to da su NRIC 1951 is one of the condition adu the base o dong ni hai anang ang sa Manipur ngang nei ba base year 1951 census the census that you can't base to distinguish foreigners ang sai du ni Census session kaino census ki data di maming matha yaw ponte. Sigi sino clarity se kai laga Assam dan lok to ise karino. Moi gi achiki trajectory sigi moi gi go back foreigner se tawman the IMDTA kaina malai han leram. Illegal immigrant detection kano gi ek amalai zaram Assam specific. Ashu ya ning hi de di. So Sarvanan Sonowal na Asugi president when the case filed, he said this law is unconstitutional. Why? Because it is against Article 14, equality before law, because Foreigners Act 1946 matung inadi, the onus of proving that one is not an illegal immigrant, sir. I say foreigner te illegal immigrant, not yes, sir. I want the accused already. I in the leiba, the honest. I have to prove that I am not a foreigner. I am not an illegal immigrant. But I am the accused or even me the door in the proof of them, no honest said on the pisal leiba. Other than never sorvan and sonawana, case or whatever. This is equality before law, 1946 Foreigners Act is against the lady. The onus should be on the person, not on the accused person. Authority na nang se foreigner na had the authority has to prove that you are a foreigner. IMDT Act today. Adu han existing law the person has to prove that he is not. Aduna struck down by Supreme Court. I still remember I had gone there. That time he was AZP Parliament. South Avenue da ichalo unure. Congratulations to umatanga. Dugi matungda Supreme Court na kay hairake da Foreigners Act 1946 moy Assam da sanagadam ne na pirakpaneb. Adagi tholakibadagi ngasai 2003 gi rule do. 2003 gi amendment duga adugi corresponding rule da amuk amend taw ba handak kisi taw yana ba Supreme Court instruction pirakpadagi. Amend tawga Assam gi specific ra hapsa leba ngasai the general do di NPR semaga NPR da verify toroge NRC general rule across the country. That amendment was supported by Congress as well. Advanina introduced ovani. It was unanimously passed. Adu the nine Congress PGP. Ani mga yagraba po neba. NRC sembais. Adugi process the NPR hana semaga adugi against verify tawgada semak poduneba. Since the general rule sinam ngati ba na Assam nang tawri sinam. Moine specific to Assam da tauraga moine amendment khara mo hapsa leba hariba rule 2003 da su kai da su aduga generally I am the shena kamako general framework tin aku pumaron su sai mo da I am si obedi makata pe sigi post da moina paper tara mari ma piwe a list for example hariba document sa nang puthora kadam ne nang citizen ne haigedi 14 number 1 a list and yes. Adu say, for example, nang metric certificate or BI, passport or BI, voter ID or any one document put through to citizen high and 14th. But there is a condition. Rider am yauri. 14 period manung the first two say. Sina NRC 1951 mo gidi tawgi high ba Portugal. Electoral roll. 1971 gi Mars ki kumanga gi mamang dalay ba any electoral roll am danang inaming yauraba natraga nangi napana pui maming yauraba haiba ma condition am piye adigi nang na puthoko der ba documents in the su 1971 March 25 ki mamang ge por hoy ga bane try example am bizarre supposing I Indian passport one of the document in the 14th 1969 the I am a pilot. Now, can I say that I am a citizen? And Assam minena? No. 14 the passport 1971 gi March ki kuma de oiba port in the paira su. Ma Indian citizen ha yaro. 71 March kuma mamang do su kari ke legacy data ka oiba ngasai first two. Hai ba tara mari du gi trying to ma lokthok pa are ani dum thambiauro. Trying to do any documents sunang na kay gumba 71 gi March ki matung ri sanadre adugo mamang do oira su that is not sufficient. Akoy mathematical logic thaga sufficient necessary and sufficient condition ado. It's not sufficient. Karige nangi naming sa 1971 mamang do leiba electoral roll natraga NRC 1951 gi list nangi ancestor magim nang maming yawa do check to gi nang adu proof to godal ne aigi idau bu pokpani ima bu pokpani haigra adugi pot se yaudri gai din nang 1971 mamangi metric certificate oigera passport paigera nang yaro oiba citizen ne Assam da tois masai general Indian rule de gyong kenara inina NPR kakten am I verify to wai whenever city specific exercise Supreme Court na pirak panevo ano moi da akoy na do the season of term do ni ba cut off or base year haise 1951 kakten na teba sina legacy data haise NRC 1951 da napana puri maming yaubama nasagi naming yaubama Natragana any electoral roll before 1971 March 25 ki mamangda maming yawama adu gidu link hek tawdrigai di nangi document puthor biometric ki oigera passport oigera voter card oigera India ki passport oigera 71 mamang oiraga su yadeba sigi sineba koina legacy data is there are two legacy data electoral roll 1971 mamang nataga NRC 1951 Sigi processing. Mapande hongjala ko so atopadagi nang adugi mind list B ga in period they purakadam. So this is the process they have implemented in Assam. Sigi posilerga problem mayam to e. Akhomia speaker lak animuk yawe 1.9 billion. So there are a lot of issues came up. India gumba illiterate or literacy wang the ba like leitaba poor people the document command maintain to do no khotu na bagi concern number lak na NRC is in a third point ko magi basic reservation about NRC India level mase khoi na demand to matam da ai gi wall khata leiba ai gi wall se khatam thang na ba yaro ba mi masak khang ma mathau tai ba ina ngang ri ba America se kai no moi ni cha my interest kai no aina khanariba community sigi mogi interest kaino mogi nature kaino khangana wari sanaba aigi strategize we are so India haiba leipak sida especially among the educated elites bureaucrats and political class da NRC is a reservation masama leiba masa haida bi acho hai bi karamba reservation no India is the poor state ni literacy rate pick up in 1951 guide the kadai the CLM do no kaibagi document kari karamayam sigi issue ma raised away. So poor people will end up being a stateless person. Haibagi concern lebenina there is a reservation. Adu gumba community adu gumbagi mahol adu gumbagi ambience ne bakoi na NRC ta oda banen talise. Adu di magi makok to yaw do tugai na bani ai nanak chithi bedana. Assam the soy budu the chumtoga judicious manner ra tauraga NRC tau haibane engaging with the people never kagino da Assam the soy kre na taga literacy wali kholi achiki document condition me amje chanba yaro enhance NRC should not be done na leiba position do ai di NRC to honba pamba minina ma engage to the yadam nen ke hai Assam the soy gama ma'am the chumtho aga English one ni amusu judicious I the the victimized to na ba judicious process ama da tauraga NRC to hai bane ba engagement ni sukang khang na ko di nawa log de no India na ngang ba no to ba na NRC to 51 da to dam nen law ne ko document lai jun da wa akhoi na demand to ba mi sing di resistance na kari le se kamai na engage to ne se sukang khang da ba da ko di dum to aduna nei nai what learn lessons from Assam adu shoi hian nang NRC to ready to kono because it is mandated by law statutory oiram no ji 2003 ki rule la yaw le bani it is the responsibility of the Indian state to distinguish foreigners from us you need to deport which is an obligation imposed on the Indian state by law of India by the constitution of India by the law enacted by Indian parliament ai na haijan manati India ki state na tawina leijara wan adu taw haibani adu noina asoy ngam leire na Assam the soy na tawro ye di torkanu haibani so engagement ko kari ngang oi man ngang is na man resistance ka dom da tholakani adu khangani handa ina mi sadi ibu matam da as mandated by 2003 ki law judicious tawraga NRC taw haire na resistance engage tawine akoi da di Buha manung the leibak to balls ngang is kaino mi ne khoi de kamai yeng sukang khang da bi da to wi phimam to gangbum si yaw ri khoi aduna ni resistance sam thole bam si se illiteracy yam literacy name ba poor people leibak si de kadai de gi documentation no haiba sa now masa 2015 gi Manipur gi ek pala akhoi gi assembly na pass to matam do amuka sanga ga yeng bi oba Manipur khakta de yeng man taba pichibi na khoi maram da kari ngang na ge national paper da kari ge ani yeng bi oba 2015 da swaida sum nai man taba national paper da na ta international media da khoi maram na matung crisis ka ge da same argument was put that time also tribal society ni literacy ni kadai gi poor people na documentation leiram do no haibagi arguments ha matam du da dum igram ne mapan gi mi ger gi ma'am now do we need to engage with that idea yes if we want NRC And judicious way, the Kadai the Kari stage or Tauyan in hotnaminaduna, a soiba literacy while Haragan letter documents in the Taudabadiaro, Kariaroi, government of Indiana, Ektoba, obliged over. It's a legal responsibility for you to do that. So NRC must be done. NRIC must be prepared. Sigi positions legal and aduga masigisi yawbagi engagement je mina kari khale se khoi khangde bida pangang bagi phibam se khoi tawi ai ngasai mamang li je many issues da informed discourse among daba mi ga kamaina engage aduna ne khoi misang leitri se second handaki matang se ne nungai taba maruina maitai 2001 da ya smart oiram badong taw divide and rule se kamaina pharaga thugai de akhoi de yekna banai khoi se divide and roga sekaina handore se handak ti ikhong thong na songsala khoi deeply polarized over societies community amaga akhoi de sungai amana su rapist community adage illegal immigration refugee na sigi tor kanda sabana sana sagai give se I see this change this time marwaina maitai da smart oina hana thingam bane basis 2001 da tawgideba we were very careful kamai tong na khut thona loi dage kamai tong na thinga dage but this time we got trapped adugi potu dai da illegal immigrant haibugi meaning say entire community amagi type the perception ama thu onre aduna it helps those people who want to destroy Manipur and play divide and rule game resist of the madu khangak padagi neba ine hek hawda aina Jantar Mantar Delhi da. I do not blame the entire Kuki as a community. Blame their elites and their divisive politics and hiding. Hanjar matam su hai, bhot kara matum da su hai. Kaino the divide and rule se, macam the powder gadi masi yaroi separate torga segai na gandi. Ab hanjar na ba yang wado re. That's what now we are. May am changu. Complete polarization of society, split all the way to community level da conflict thok pe se organization ani ma thok pe ya state level the political class ma to tholok pe aduna treba khoi di we are divided in bureaucracy we are divided in society we are divided in community even personal relationships that's the division that we have seen this time sikana khoi khang da ba dong na lai sikari gi no ba koi hai roga kuki naga thoena mu asong mi sing si mateng pang chal lai thabak tok dana ba that division has never seen this division right from political class. Bureaucracy is splitted, community is splitted, society is splitted, and down to personal relationship. The Baba, very personal relationship are surviving today. Now the last part of my presentation is, what is the way forward? How should we go about it? Aina sai haijagedani NRIC foreigner amasung illegal immigration khandu aga deport waisa. This is an obligation on Indian state by Indian constitution and the laws enacted by the Parliament of India. It's there. Now, second, eikhoi specific need leiba. Porous border oiba, unsettled oiba state dagi influx sangakpagi posa. It's a fact. Magi extends kayam lagi dudi eikhoi. It's debatable. I don't have the data, but the fact is sang ACD yani. Luri di amu kay dawi. Kangbu manasigi changai bisi justify to usi yauri. Sakchu manabni same ethnic ni eikhoi gisigi international boundaries si kay dawi accept of doi no na. Ngang mami magi quotation aina amitsa ibudzi yaw neba. It's quoted from an article in Where. An educationist in Churachandpuna. Hi. Akhoi makta bamade milene kay dawi lei loi doino. Sakchu manaba. Adu karan thapar ga yena gibudo from 29 minutes adai dagi yang 40 hogam. The way I was arguing with mana indigenous ni adu ninda ga ina se hanjan insist of the mana few thousands katane nang haidu changam da ina you think it's few thousands and some people said it could be in thousands and thousands. Man how keep na what makes you believe how keep more than the others? Adu matang da ina ngang ida the mon da haibani nang Bengali lo na mo pusala ke haibra Punjabi lo pusala ke haibra ethnicity mana yana. There are Bengalis in Bangladesh, there are Punjabis in Punjab, there are Tamils in Sri Lanka. Simply because you have ethnicity similar na pusalagada to that need to distinguish citizens from non-citizens. Current thapra itu sungang mani. Adugi plethora of interviews in national media ngangai say call it by any other name. Ain hari sigan de NRC dengan saya reservation le itu khang mani na ina. Call it by any other name, but we need to distinguish citizens from non-citizens. Adugi process am tau ta say interviews after interviews. Adu sukang khang da bedai sida khara political class khara na paisa khara pijara ga mo ye sebo khara thado ga confusion is chatlandana. Ozami manganang na handang pay type. It's there in. Masaya pot ma'am sa kanga ga season na gado ba is ka divide and rule sa kamay that kani adu ita the context sa kamay na sagat laga kada ida kari ngayon sa kalla nga ngayon including that letter I wrote to Abitsa. Ado na eikhoi no jik to the basic question kara tamjang ga go way forward and I say we must demand kay no da eikhoi da village ki hengalakpagi karigi population ki dynamic then directly manipulated overnight 2001-2011 census to iduni adusu ai na khangma na hanga tadi professor ni IIT amana Azim Premjida Manipur Musante moini beso ina quote ni moina haiduni electoral gi delimitation gi angka holaga sit hengan ba manipulate na so we have a problem asi khala kandani aina NRC kari ka tawne the delimitation the census ka semte lepi wise census city foreigner gi yaw sum hana shu du ngani all the census data you have before madudai the foreigners yaw ngani yaw do shang ngani because census doesn't look into that usual residents and tig do ni aduna hojik thizal rodi mitomian cha yaw sang ngani ga practically census cannot distinguish who is a citizen who is not it's not rest on that hana leiba census data zo du ngani. Now, akoigi nuna NRC si tobo matamda eikhoi na hojik luri se base year line has the confusion chatpa anyum lare. Now, what is the thing? Assam da ki koi kitang lesson tamaga kai yeng yai da NRC 1951 leitre haire hojik. Adu dekhoi na census the base da meaning to ibra top because census data cannot be the basis for identification of foreigner because census itself census tobo matamda nang foreigners yon umchijan doini. Chikangda ba mina never was 1951 census the base don't ngang su yaw ni because they don't understand census data is in kaino NRC is in kaino NPR su ngang dung ngang ne you can't have a base like that so ada nang gi Assam do toy dineba NRC 51 do leida gadi that is one base ada nang gi ancestral the yaw ban chi on high then second electoral roll ba election karai to ki akoi da Manipur Constitution Act 1947 makada electoral adu susi na jeng kangmo ngai what was the problem is a huge problem Indian Constitution law matung electoral roll oibra madu mamang oibra is the Constitution of Manipur 1947 accepted by Indian Constitution lawyer ma'am yawi yong tahang bio ngan TV daga sungang kalai 1948 ki electoral roll susi na gadom ne haire ba how many of the lawyers here thinks that Indian Constitution will accept an electoral roll prepared under Constitution of Manipur Act 1947. Eikhoi Constitution la matungi wari ni sigi citizen non-citizen ngangai ngamjuna Constitution ni mamang the latsengi 50 mamang eba 48 ki nangi electoral roll sina gadam na kamum tawrei. Now if you said that 48 ki to accept taw hairak padi kai tare Adu accept already. If the government of India accepts 1948 electoral roll, assembly that means government of India is acknowledging Manipur Constitution Act 1947. That is pre-merger status. That government of India has accepted pre-merger status. Adu aigana phone na tan birodana. 48 ki electoral roll do chana jahare gade. You should boldly say, pre-merger pami ayu. Adu suhaide electoral roll 1948. What is the legal status of that electoral roll for you to do NRIC in India under Indian Constitution? See, inform. So what is the option we have? Legacy data se koi kai oige. Either you resolve NRC 1951 day late in the Wugi Magi legality to Toro, Putoraga Zuziga Mena late issue like them, it's a huge problem. Later Magadi Putopiro. Adu later then Laura Sosic status late Hiramina. Then what is our option? Then my suggestion would be that 1952 electoral roll, the first Lok Sabha election. Risang Kesing, hoina phamgiba 1952 first Lok Sabha. I know zu oisina 18 Lok Sabha ni. First Lok Sabha election 1952 tabugi electoral roll, which is under Indian Constitution the semak pani. Adugi electoral roll could be one of our legacy data, but it cannot be out 1951 the oiroidana. That's the issue. So one option. Legacy data Assam be happy equivalent some low gate. We have 1952 electoral rolls. Maybe then we also have 1957. You know the 1951 that hatu the quota kara data other lekuna layena argue so we can say that 57 because population growth baglaka bamada get is a post 60s unsettlement. So what is the best option Haivani? Practical best option legacy data is the 52 gi electoral roll and 57 gi electoral roll. Second Lok Sabha and first Lok Sabha election gi electoral roll. Village director to Zaksta post or can the village director the Mumi Mami Yaroi. But highly beduna equity legacy data am semba. Adugi the Makta show specific amendment among Changania Sangas minor kind of the general NRC over the Sigi legacy that I question. That's one option we have. Now, there is a separate thing that we have never talked properly. Foreigner kandokta badi. Foreigners eki makha da executive action disina laura suya police na laura suya ba. Chingna raga dinang proof taw du tawen. Natragana Foreigners Act 1946 makha da Foreigners Tribunal na same maga dictate taw power is given to detect, detain and deport. 3 Ds. Under Foreigners Act 1946 and later there are 4 laws. Passport law and Immigration and Foreigners Act 2025 1st September 2025. Adugi makata tribunal hangaga foreigner say chingnaba the case pusalaga they were honest of proving whether they are not nangi organization ki ex worker Brahma dagi lakpani MP or megado if you have a tribunal drag him out and put it in the tribunal. This is masigi village unnatural growth malisi foreigner let them prove themselves that they are not foreigners. Tribunal must set up the way which is independent of NRC. Adugi power to sue state the peak revenue. Home Minister. So, if the NRC problem, if you really wanted to crack down on some of the villages, unnatural growth, or suspect the tribunals, they can be detect, detain, and deport. And it is a judicious process. NRC tribunal foreigner he can still appeal to that. So it's a judicious, legal, due process, process. So you can use this. Asukui basida, Masumbagi, Hanadagi 46 foreigners act so tribunal and say, I want the Handaki home minister, no Pangakudanate, Madugi Mamang the Sushi foreigners exida, government give powers, central government is set up on PFC. Sigi Puna, the foreigner dance illegal. You should have used these existing laws. Matam to the Foreigners Act, Immigration and Foreigners Act 2025, establish foreigners tribunals. Aduga detect or adum tawyaraba po never say. Adu tawhagadi aina amisada ibiti last law and order sana maintain tawdana, kamay implement tawgan. So what is the core issue? Core issue is using state legitimacy like split or Manipur police. I know information. Mayam shocked Manipur police status noise. Mogi manpower, mogi equipment, mogi morale, mogi karamana operators. We are destroyed. So this is the information just processes that is why I have demanded that Foreigners Tribunal under Immigration and Foreigners Act you start dictating and detain and deport foreigners. In any case, Assam, the Sunangi NRC, the hold of things tribunal, the Sumumoi scope and period to appeal themselves. So why don't you start a Foreigners Tribunal under Immigration and Foreigners Act? The power has been transferred to the state. The problem is Manipur police is in a shamble. Your law and order is not in your hand properly. We are in a chaotic condition. How will you impose this? Waiver definition of state is a community that claims the monopoly of the legitimate use of physical force within a given territory. Unquote. That was what Weber defines. Nang adugi authority to claim to bungam state. That's why armed peoples are moving around everywhere. Chaotic tribunal you need to revamp. In order to do all these things, illegal armed groups operate rein in this violence and control them. Law and order is established the priority to historical process na kari no haiba mayam sa eikhoi munna nainara kanda tawba ma changi adu natabeda pagang dangang na raga khoi gi ngasai impoverished ta basa masa I think ngasi ambana sinbiri se men waro bi no kitang sang na ngangre ko because there's a lot of confusions asi nganghau raga di hareng ne amung yesal ga ni jam ye di the frustration grata na tap time sabat su yaure ka ni kani nga ka do mi ngang di tv the totally pairing to ngang jal chaki ai oi na ngau ba tabi type no chaklak pasum hen su yaure bum and I'm so thankful to Amba learned council logi ma the pajna khang bi ma yam na please correct our society. You should be the flag bearer. Si soire si sini statutory ni sin nonsense ni option si lai nga sa haije ni. This is the way forward for us. This is a politics story. The politics story. This is your minor Congress and higher point in the lower. Facts the muyeng view. Between UPA 1 and 2, 2004 dagina 2014 Modi lakringa chahi tarada. More than 80,000 illegal immigrants were deported to their respective countries. 80,000 plus people under UPA government. NRC between 2014 and 2024, barely 5,000. NRC say politics ne polarized on the bangang he never say. I have that Lok Sabha's answer. No, the Taunan of a Libran, I hang nate, Atopa Kanuna hang bada. Lok Sabagi question, your ma'am TV say, I see with the Yaurico. So I can pass like a sick tank at the mana. Basic Gibson. Kadai the secretary, your anyway. The question doesn't arise in any declarative deciding. Anyway, Yoram Desida. I'm fine, Yoram Doman. Lok Sabha the Kumakram Nepse. Laitiana. Government of India has no plan to conduct NRC across the country. Lok Sabha the Hang in Minang the Kumakram Never. What's in the NRC in foreigners tribunal, Samato Yarmi, Potni, Tauhidravani, Taugan Kaladi. Practical when the CD 50 to 57 Gatoga consensus manner can the pressure to win any Puna. I do not have it up. Chin the Sumpanga Balan and Anger Gato say, see on tongue told Changi, Matumang Kanga, Mina, public spare pilot, the Aro, Dunako, Ozaguru, Liberia, Mayamna, Kakasanjan Birgana, Miam, the Tagado, Midi, Liberia, Wersing, Ozara, Praman, and the Hoist Leiba, Okuyozana, Moi Tagadabli, Moinang, the Tagadabli. Ang masado na pangangambas 48 kid na tawyani haya karay the legal status na karino NRC ay sino karino census data yun kaino baseline ito 51 oidong niya kay na census no oidong niya high base census na baseline kamay oidong no ay na data niya sa duganta. This is the confusion as I have seen this in my state as someone who have worked in academic field for so long. I quite na ill-informed about Hinduism, disappearance of Maitay Mayek. Luckily, naha huzik thole. Chahi mangai mungai ni interview people or YouTube tam lai when it's na angang YouTube ramda. Mo na high game ni. Et chanda kiti matam da nung yung ami Maitay Mayek kamay muli na print culture thola ko na. Ado luckily ay ngang han iko da a trained historian, young chap. Mo putore evidence. Sikadai deno sin Maitay Mayek kay muli high do no. So yaroi, ako'y nasoy gibiyay, ako'y di aham da kegeni, unate ay, leitaba mark to sang deli leibak sumayam tana ba moy gibawani, unate, butolak keni wasay. angang hawalay ba 20s and 30s train tol ba singsi u aseng ngak tani khoi mo roi ai nga si changchan jari ba lambi sa moi di ai gi chahi jor ka dia a yaw rani international thak ta sakrani no oi da bangang ba ki matam kui roi but eikhoi da di sum talent oi ba angang sing su chappa ga moi space lai te kangbum na dum ngang adagi hero dum tawraga chume 1948 ki electoral da tawdam ni 1951 census na base oi ga dam ne intelligible oil the ba yar the wa in ngang ba government da is na ngai suggest them the way forward if we want to do NRC amend this 2003 legacy data legitimate and fangdo say 52 electoral roll and probably hatu to the board the second option be either 57 and 52 electoral route can be used as a legacy data. See nata with the NRC, so not nata with the su Foreign Immigration and Foreigners Act 2025 maka the tribunal tawraga so and so organization is a foreigner ne hai sigi khunji foreigner mali have sing do. Please bring them to that tribunal so that we can detect, detain and deport illegal immigrants. That can be done. For that you need to have a political will and understanding. This is another step to achieve our goal of to deport illegal immigrants from Manipur. Natraga de resource in Chasan Badana, political right focus. Asigi awareness, Puna Tabuk Domina say.